Guys, welcome to the newest episode of the Debate Mates. I'm Matthew Swanenberg, and I'm honored to be joined today by the OG debate mate,
It was good, y'all.
Nathan Poplin.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Glad to have you here with us today. We got a very fun video for you. It's a little bit past the midway point of the season.
Yeah.
Most teams have played around 50 games.
Yeah.
And we're going to be giving out our Midseason Awards, but not
Very
your
excited.
traditional MVP, Rookie of the Year, stuff like that. They're more superlatives, I would say.
Like I think it makes it a lot more interesting. Exactly. At best moment, things like that.
And before we get started, though, make sure you follow us on Instagram at DebateMates. Subscribe to us on YouTube, of course.
Yeah, only if you want the best basketball content on YouTube.
You're right. Unless you don't want that. Unless you don't like that sort of stuff.
Unless you just...
If you don't like entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't like having fun. And like this video, please. Make sure to comment. And without further ado, we're going to get into some mid-season awards / superlatives. We'll start with biggest surprise team. Nathaniel, would you like to get us started?
I think this is a pretty obvious one, and it appears me and you have the exact same answer. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've just been playing so well. I knew Evan Mobley was going to be good, but not this level. Very much top of my list, Rookie of the Year candidate. Right. Jarrett Allen has really stepped up his game. Same with Darius Garland. Darius Garland is an absolute stud.
Yeah.
And Ricky Rubio, before he went out, was a pretty useful weapon for this team, as I thought he would be. And Rondo's doing okay. But yeah, this is a really good defensive team. It's a really nice young team. Even Lauri Markkanen has been producing really nice when he's on the floor. They lose Sexton pretty early into the year.
Right.
And I thought it was going to be the same scenario as next year, like 13, 12 seed. But no, they are the third seed in the East right now, which is kind of crazy. Didn't see it coming, but props to them. They've been playing really good basketball this year.
So for something to be a surprise, that means you have to have not had any high expectations for them.
Exactly.
I pulled out some receipts here. I didn't have my personal prediction for them. I don't know what I said they were. But ESPN preseason ranking, 27th in the NBA. NBA.com preseason ranking, 13th in the East. They are currently third, as Nathan said, in the Eastern Conference. They are 30-19. They're better than the Nets right now. They're better than the Bucks, the Sixers, just about everybody other than the Heat, and the 2 seed is the Bulls. So and you could make an argument that the Bulls are another one of your more surprising teams. The notes I have for them, like you said about Darius Garland, basically 20-8. 47% from the field. He's had a really great season. I think he's going to be an all-star, and deservedly so. Jarrett Allen, I think, also is very deserving of an all-star spot, averaging close to 2 blocks and 16 points, 11 rebounds, shooting nearly 69% from the field. They're 23-15 without Colin Sexton, who was their leading scorer, tore his MCL. They're 10-5 without Rubio, who tore his ACL. Evan Mobley, like you said, leading Rookie of the Year race. Kevin Love, out of nowhere, is having a career resurgence.
Yeah, a little bit of resurgence, yeah.
He's already played more games this season than he has in 2 of the last 3 years, which is crazy.
Goodness gracious.
He's averaging 14 and 7. Still far away from those 30 and 20 games we'd see in Minnesota,
yes,
but good to see him producing at
least. In contrast, the last couple of years we've dealt with him where we haven't really seen much of him at all. I mean, what is it, 14 points per game? I mean, off the bench, you really can't ask for much better.
Right.
In comparison to
and
what
41
was.
from 3. He said recently, I don't know if it was on the JJ Redick podcast or just a post-game interview, that this is the most fun he's had playing basketball since the 15-16 Cleveland Cavaliers championship year. And then Lauri Markkanen coming into his own after being in Chicago for so many years. 14-5, 44% from the field, a decent 34% from 3.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys that weren't quite there yet or had a down year or had a couple down years have just kind of come back to life in Cleveland. And it's great to see. And
it's great to see. It makes for some great basketball. It's a lot. They're a very fun team to watch. Definitely top of my list when it comes to actually watching teams. Really enjoy watching them play.
I don't know what their ceiling is. I wouldn't consider them a playoff or a title contender.
Not at this point, no. Especially not. Well, I mean, there's rumors, correct, that they may get Colin Sexton back some point towards the back end of the year. I think this is a team that's really built to win in probably 2 to 3 years more than right this very moment. But I think they can at least make it out of the first round. I truly believe that. In the
unless the Nets stay as the 6th seed, that would be a tough first round matchup.
Yeah.
But I think just for them, just to get their feet wet and to show, this is something that I wish like the Thunder would do more, is to show the young guys that you're committed and that you can still be competitive. Because there's going to be a day, I think, where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Lou Dort the two pillars of OKC.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Giddey eventually maybe say, I don't want to be here anymore. This isn't fun. Look at Cleveland rebuilding while also competing for home court advantage in the playoffs. And the Cavs have just shown a perfect way that you can rebuild and still be a really, really good basketball team. So they're great, very surprising.
Yeah.
And now, surprising player. I'll get to start it here. I went with Demar Derozan.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one, I would say.
He's averaging the highest points per game since 16-17, all about 27 points per game. Highest three-point percentage since 15-16. He is a starting backcourt member for the Eastern Conference, which was last time he did that was in 2017, 2018. And I think he was voted, the worst offseason signing by ESPN.
Yeah, which is just crazy.
And now he's probably top 10 in MVP. He has had a great year. Another career resurgence. He just looks incredible.
I think one we can both agree and be honest, we knew he'd be well, but we didn't know he'd be this successful around those other pieces. I definitely didn't. I thought there might have been some clashing, but this team looks really good, especially for him. Him and Levine are really leading the charge and making this team what it is, the 2 seed right now in the East.
And that's with a lot of injuries, too. Lonzo's out for 6 to 8 weeks. Caruso's out for 6 to 8 weeks.
They dealt with problems. The big COVID. COVID just swept through this organization for a good couple of weeks there.
So, and now, still number 2 in the East. Demar Derozan still up there in MVP race. So I got to go with him as my biggest surprise player because I did not see this coming from him.
That's a very good one. I'm going to go with a little more unorthodox one.
Okay.
That was a good one. That was the other one I was thinking of. But I got to go with Desmond Bain, really due to the fact of we knew he was going to be good. We knew he was going to be a sharpshooter. And very well. He averaged, I believe, 9.7 points last year. Now it's somewhere around 17, 18 or something, alongside Ja Morant. And I think what really made me pick him is just not just we knew he was going to be good and we knew he had a lot of potential, but it seems to be really him and Ja, alongside Ja, seem to be contributing to a lot of wins, very successful team because they're number 3-2 in the West right now, which I knew they were going to be solid, fighting for a play-in spot, playoff spot, but or an actual
3 seed was crazy.
3 seed for what I thought was going to, with the whole trade, I didn't think Steven Adams, the Valanciunas trade, I didn't think that losing Valanciunas was going to be very good for him. Steven Adams is doing fairly well for what he is.
Rebounding master.
Rebounding master. He's not getting any younger.
Did you see the play on MLK Day where Daniel Gafford was getting into it with Ja Morant? Daniel Gafford, I think 6'9", 250.
He just picks him up.
He lifted him up and carried him to half court.
Definitely,
it was insane.
Definitely voted, I think, among his peers as one of the strongest, if not the strongest player. He's just above Aquaman at this point, isn't he? And who gets boards like it's crazy. But no, I believe they have somewhere around, is it 35 to 37 wins right now?
Yeah, they're
maybe 18 losses. Yeah. I just think he's really coming to his own, and I don't think this is a ceiling at all. I wouldn't be surprised next year he's averaging 20, 22 plus, So, I think he was a big surprise for me, just how well and just how much his contributions are adding to the success of this team.
And he lends himself, his last name does, to some great calls. Because his last name is Bain, and he got the tie to Batman in the Batman movies. Ian Eagle called in a Nets game a while back, Nets and Grizzlies, saying, the fire rises, he will break you. So just so many great references there. And it's combining my 2 favorite things in the world, which is those 3 Batman movies, which are insane, and the NBA. And it can't get any better than that. So I love Desmond Bain a lot. He's a great player. He's surprising.
Another team that's fun to watch because of him and Ja, too. So just good stuff from the Grizzlies. Grizzlies have a bright future the next 5 to 10 years down the line.
Speaking of players that are fun to watch, let's move on to most entertaining team. Nate, you want to get us started?
Most entertaining team, I have the Bulls.
Okay.
The Bulls, I've watched probably a good amount. The only team I probably watched more than my Celtics is the Chicago Bulls, because I know a lot of Chicago Bulls fan. And, all these off-season, between the last 2 seasons, getting Vucevic and then getting Lonzo and DeRozan in the off-season, I knew they were going to be good. And I did make, I think in one of our previous videos, I said if they're anything less than the 6th seed when the season finishes, it would have been a failure. They far surpassed my expectations. I knew they were going to be good, but not this good. Just so many really good players, and I thought there was going to be clashing going on. But I love the defense. I love the ball movement, and the depth I think is crazy. There's just so much to love about this team. They were still impressing me just how deplenished they were during that COVID outbreak, and they were still playing pretty solid ball. And I think a lot of credit's got to be given not just to the front office who acquired these players and the players themselves, but I think Billy Donovan is really doing a great job as a coach. I thought he was pretty good in OKC, but he had some turmoil with Russ and and things, and I'm glad he's getting another crack at it. To me, the Bulls right now the most entertaining team to watch.
I think the team I have on paper is not the team I'm going to go with right now.
Oh, changing it up.
I have the Washington Wizards. And
that's a fun one.
Yeah, that might really partially be some hometown bias. They're our local team.
Mm-hmm. Really sad to hear about how they want to push Spencer Dinwiddie out. I thought he would have been a lot more loved and a lot more done a lot better for this team. Sorry.
But looking at, they got a very balanced scoring. Beal 24, Kuzma 16, Montrez 14, Spence 13.
Baby. Kuzma playing great.
KCP 13. So you got that balance there. They got the most clutch wins in the NBA, but they're pretty bad right now, at least. For the last 30 or so games, they are very bad. They were the number 1 seed in the East at one point, and now they're the number 10 seed.
Now what I thought was going to happen to them is kind of catching up.
And they're on I think they fell to 11th seed, and the Hawks have jumped over them now because the Hawks are on a 7-game win streak. So I'm going to have to go away from them, especially after that 35-point blown lead to the Celtics. That's rough. Can't give you anything can't give you any award if that's how you're going to play. So I'm going to switch to probably the Warriors. I think are the most entertaining team in the NBA.
That's good. Yeah.
Curry has been really, really off for the last couple of months. But even when he's not playing well, you got Jordan Poole, who's exciting. You got Klay Thompson back, who's so fun to watch.
You got all-star starter Wiggins, baby.
Wiggins is really good. Draymond Green, when he's healthy.
Another person we could argue for most surprise player, Gary Payton II, playing very well.
Yeah, no expectations coming into this
season. I remember watching him play a little bit for the Blazers, and it was like I'm sorry, bro. I mean, your dad's a Hall of Famer, but you just don't got what it takes, and he's playing really well right now in San Francisco. So it's good to see.
He's played great. Kevon Looney is just the perfect Golden State Warriors center. He's not missed a single game this season.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Poole, I really like what I've seen out of Kuminga. I really like Kuminga.
Bucket.
I haven't seen much of Moody. Maybe you've seen a couple of how Moody's looking.
Not so much.
I think Moody will be good. I just haven't seen enough to really form a valid opinion on him. But
yeah, they're just a really fun, really deep team. Another team I would throw in there is maybe Phoenix.
Phoenix is just
another deep team. They're going to win clutch games, and if they're in a clutch game, it's going to be entertaining because you got Chris Paul leading the show.
It seems like they really do just have redemption on their minds, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going absolutely ham, and they just barely missed it on the championship last season. They are trying to make sure they are the number 1, and they are the number 1 in our minds for who's going to win this championship this year. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they did, because it's just such a phenomenal team.
I wouldn't be surprised if they come back up in a couple minutes when we get the best team for the half.
I think that's certain.
But before we get there, let's go to most entertaining player, where mine just so happens to be the best player in the NBA, because it's Kevin Durant. And maybe this is bias again because he's my favorite player.
I'm sure it is.
But at this point right now, it basically seems like an undisputed statement that Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA. Second, maybe only to Jokic with how well he's playing right now. I would throw him up there. Check out that video from about a month ago now on why Jokic might be the best player in the NBA, but is most definitely the most underrated. I'll put the link in the description, a 2-3 minute video. Definitely check it out. But back to KD. After not being able to watch him for a year and a half, 2 years, seeing him out on the court, anytime I can watch him, I drop everything I'm doing and I watch him play.
That's your boy, man. I get it.
He's near 50, 40, 90. Anytime he wants to score, he's going to do it, or he's going to get a good shot. He's a good facilitator, blocks shots. And for me, it's most fun to watch who's best. And he's best. He's consistent. You're not getting any of these games like Steph Curry has had recently where you're going 2 for 13. He's going to get 25, 30 points every single night. If he shoots a bad percentage, he's probably still at 38 to 40%, which is not good, but that's still better than a lot of players shoot. So he's just insane. He's incredibly consistent, incredibly efficient, just the best basketball player in the world.
Yeah, he's Kevin Durant. I mean, I get that. I'm going a little different than that. Sure, yes, people like Giannis, Curry, the best players in the league are fun to watch, but I just love the idea of I find myself loving players that are not in the top 5 conversation, and they're just as entertaining to me. The one I think that was most entertaining to me so far this season is Ja Morant. Ja Morant really can just do anything he wants. He is oh my God, this pick for the Grizzlies, I don't know if you can get much better than this. It has just been him plus Desmond Bain. It's just been one of the better backcourts I've watched. I mean, I believe right now he's averaging 26, 6 assists, and 7 boards, around the 6.8 boards. And I'm as a guard, as a point guard who's about, 6'1", 6'2",
Yeah.
something like that. And even his defense, to me, is pretty mid.
Three-point shot has improved a lot.
Yeah, three-point shot has gotten a lot better. I mean, his finishing speaks for itself. My man can dunk over whoever he wants, really.
Right.
He's just an electrifying player, and he seems like such a cool dude, and he's very cool and calm under pressure, I think, from what I've seen personally. Yeah. So, I just – Anytime the Grizzlies are on, I find myself watching it, really, because it's just like it's a fun young team, and he's leading the charge when it comes to that team.
They dogged the Wizards team. Absolutely destroyed them.
We've seen a couple of those dog victories, like those just absolute massacres.
I mean, they're the ones that beat the Thunder by 73, so they're no.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say the Hornets were the victims to 2 now. Was it? Because they just suffered a really bad one.
The Hornets killed the Pacers the other night.
Maybe I'm thinking of they delivered one and were on the receiving end of one.
I can't think of the one they received, but I know they absolutely bodied the Pacers a couple nights ago. So moving on to best team, Nate, do you have the Phoenix Suns?
Yes, I think we both have the Phoenix Suns, correct?
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns haven't even have 40 wins now and haven't even hit double-digit losses.
It's insane.
That is the best team in basketball right now, the most. I mean, they were so good last season. It's almost like they've gotten better. I'm telling you, it's like they've lit a fire under themselves and they've gotten better. I mean, the really only big signing I think they made was JaVale McGee, correct? Yeah. And he's been playing pretty solid for this team.
Don't forget about the midseason signing of Bismack Biyombo, who's
That's true. Forgot about my boy Bismack.
8.
Bismack Biyombo. It's like never saw that coming. I'm sorry, I didn't see 11 and 8 coming out of Bismack.
Any center, if you put him on with Chris Paul and he can set a pick and he can run to the hoop, he's going to score and get rebounds. It's incredible.
This is just such a well put together, well developed team, and it's crazy to think that we're here at this point. When 5-6 years ago we were talking about how we need to get D-Book out of there because this is one of the worst front offices and franchises.
2 years ago.
Yeah, in the NBA, it's like get D-Book out of there. He's wasting his potential. My man's is looking like they're going back-to-back finals appearances this year.
Yeah,
that is the best team in basketball. You can argue the Warriors, but I'm slightly putting the Phoenix Suns above the Warriors currently right now.
Where do you think a healthy Brooklyn Nets team playing on the road stacks up against Phoenix? Because I think I give the edge to Brooklyn, although they don't have the continuity.
I mean, they have Kevin Durant and James Harden. That's just
and Kyrie.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think,
and they would have Joe Harris.
I think they match up pretty well. I would worry a little bit defensively, but I mean, that's what I was saying last year about them and look how far they went.
Yeah.
I think they match up well. I would personally give the edge to Phoenix in 7, though.
Okay.
I think Chris Paul and Devin Booker find a way to pull it out.
Yeah. Back to Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna be a little trendy and go Miami Heat for my best team because they are very well put together. But I was comparing home and
they're a scary team.
And things like that.
They're very good.
The Heat are barely above 500 on the road, whereas the Suns are 19-4 on the road and 20-5 at home. I don't know where their game last night was in San Antonio, so they might even be 20-4 on the road now. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're insane.
All I know is they're on track to have single-digit losses. Only single-digit losses by the All-Star break. That would be nuts, actually.
Well, you know what's kind of nuts? So they're 40-9, which is really good. Now imagine 73-9.
Yeah.
We took that for granted, man, because this is insane. This feels crazy. They're 49. Looking at that record doesn't look real. And somehow a team went 73.
All I got to say is the West, in comparison to last year, your top 3 teams are the Suns, the Warriors, the Grizzlies.
Right. 2 of those teams were playing teams last year.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what? It's just kind of crazy how all it takes is 1 year to change. All it takes is one finals loss to really propel them. One Bismack Biyombo and JaVale McGee signings. You know,
they've just been rotating centers in too because DeAndre Ayton went out for he's only played 28 games.
One person I think is the unsung hero of this team is I'm just really a big fan of Mikal Bridges.
He's great.
He is fantastic, and I think I remember how bad I felt for him. I don't know if you remember when he was drafted to his hometown Sixers and they got traded to the Suns. But hey, he's bloomed into his own right here, and I don't think he'd rather be in. I mean, Philly's good, but I think he'd rather be right where he is right now.
And I want to say Philly or his mom also works for the Sixers. I think she did.
Mm-hmm. And then they traded him the same night. I remember just how bad I felt for him because he was so excited to play for his hometown team, man.
Moving on to worst team. I don't know if we agree on this one. I'll go first. I got the Sacramento Kings.
See, it was between 2 for me, but I chose the other one. The Sacramento Kings are just –
and I was a little worried about making this pick because the other night they were up like 14 on the 76ers. And I was like, oh, they're going to get a really big win tonight. I don't know if I can still have them as my worst team. It'll look bad. But then they blew it. In classic Sacramento Kings fashion, De'Aaron Fox has regressed. Minus 4 points per game, minus 2 assists.
Mm-hmm.
They've blown a ninth. Wait, I don't know what this means. These numbers I have. Oh, okay. He's less than 19% from the field, or 19% less than he was last year. 74% worse from three this year than last year. He was in like the 33s last year, or 35s, and now he's in like the 24s, 20s. It's bad. It's gone really.
I just really feel bad for him. And like I predicted a while ago, Marvin Bagley doesn't seem to be really contributing.
They fired their coach, Luke Walton, earlier in the season. They no longer are involved in Ben Simmons' trade talks.
Mm-hmm. Rashawn Holmes is fine. I like Tyrese Halliburton. I like De'Aaron Fox, even though he's regressing.
They lost 53 points to your Beantown boys.
Yeah,
Celtics blew them out.
They should feel ashamed of that alone, because I know I'm ashamed of my Celtics right now. Sorry.
They're on a 6-game losing streak. They've lost to the 29th place Pistons twice, 27th place Thunder, and the 28th place Rockets. Yeah, so they have losses collected against all of the worst teams in the NBA. They're terrible. And they're the Kings. The King's gonna Kang. What can you say?
Yeah, it's just one of those organizations. I feel bad for the fan base, and I just feel bad for the players on the team. When you feel bad for the players on the team, you know something's wrong. Well, something's up.
And even there was a reporter the other night who was like, basically asked Tyrese Halliburton, how are you gonna stay happy? You play for Sacramento. That's pretty rough. And he was just like, I gotta just play. I just gotta play for Sacramento. I can only control what I can control, which is a good answer. But imagine your franchise is that bad that a reporter can justifiably ask you, do you think you're going to be able to, maintain a happy life playing for this terrible organization?
Are you going to go into depression playing for the Sacramento Kings,
that's basically what the ask.
Who are a bottom 3 team in the West every single year?
It's rough. So who do you got for worst team?
I got the other really bad team, I think, and you can agree on this, the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets have been unbearably bad, even though I do think the Houston Rockets have a slightly better future than the Kings. Halliburton.
A lot of teams have a worse one.
That's true. Halliburton and Davion Mitchell are fine, but yeah, I'm not big on Marvin Bagley, and I think De'Aaron Fox has the possibility of being gone in the next 2 to 3 years.
Should be.
Yeah. So I don't know. The Houston Rockets. I forget what their record is currently right now. I believe they are 15th still in the West. Correct, underneath the Thunder. We're at 14.
Yep.
And they're 13. They got some nice pieces like Garrison Matthews and I really like Sengun. That was one person I was kind of on watching Summer League. But you got so many problems. I'm not a big fan of the front office. You got Kevin Porter Jr. is definitely not happy and probably won't be there very much longer. And your number 2 overall pick wants out. He's so bad that they play better when he's off the court.
Yeah.
And bad drafting.
Refuse to play John Wall.
That's true.
Just a lot of weirdness.
And the possibility of trading, what was that one trade I saw? John Wall for Westbrook, and then they released Westbrook. Was then what was going to happen afterwards? There's pieces on it I like, but as a team, they're just not very good. When you're supposed to be a star player in Jalen Green, that your team is better when he's not on the floor. Does that not send a message?
That's pretty bad.
It's like I don't think that'll last. I think he will get better and it'll contribute more to the wins. But by how much, I don't know. This team is pitiful.
They had the incident a while ago where Kevin Porter Jr. just left the game at halftime and Christian Wood refused to sub in. They just have so many problems there.
At this point, I'm much like the Pistons. The Pistons' future is much brighter.
Cade is the best.
You got Cade and Sadiq and Isaiah Stewart, and you got solid future. Beef Stew. We're probably looking at for them another top 5 pick, definitely. But they're going to get the number 1 pick at this rate. My God, number 2 then to number 1. It's not getting better.
Yeah, and I remember 2 years ago, I said the Rockets head coach Stephen Silas. I was like, if this James Harden situation, if he's able to, get the waters a little less muddy, or if the Rockets are able to do pretty good, I think he could be in Coach of the Year contention. And look how wrong I was about that. That was a bad take.
Is there anything really right I see with this organization? Not much.
Not really.
I like the jerseys.
They have some cool jerseys. They have some cool retro jerseys.
It's just I like Kevin Porter, but he's going to be gone. At this point, I don't know where, which is crazy because think how he's already going to be most likely looking at his 3rd team in how many years now?
Right.
The Cavs should have just kept him. At this point,
Now let's move on to one thing that neither of these 2 teams will ever have.
Real quick though, I'm sorry, Rockets fans. I do apologize. I've never been down this bad. My Celtics have been bad, and they are bad. I was there for the Jared Sullinger days, so I know bad.
You're here for the Grant Williams days.
I'm from the bottom of my heart.
It'll get better.
Houston and Sacramento. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It'll get better, hopefully. Maybe.
It's not looking like it, but let's have hope. Let's have hope.
So
that
anyway,
instead of 15, there'll be 14 next year.
That's saying improvement's an improvement.
Improvement is improvement. Small victories.
So Nate, best moment. What you got?
You have.
Hey, no spoilers.
I'm sorry, but the best moment for me was, as much as it hurts me, because my favorite player of all time is Ray Allen. But that was a moment I very much watched, and that was a moment that was just so cool, the eruption in that stadium. And, I mean, he was able to do it in about 600 less games.
Yeah.
I mean, he solidified himself as the greatest shooter. We've known it for the past, 4 or 5 years now, but he has solidified it. He has moved past the great Ray Allen, way better than him or Reggie Miller, which I remember when Ray Allen set the record, nobody thought that, that was as good as that was going to get. But right. Steph Curry came out and it's completely shattered, and he's become one of the top 2 point guards all time for me.
Probably.
I mean, you can make an argument for number 1. I still kind of have Magic for right now over him. You might disagree with me on that.
I don't.
But I think that was the best moment of the season. That's the moment that I'm going to remember this season for truly. The number 1 moment. It was just such a cool moment for Steph. Steph deserves every last bit of praise he gets. He is that dude. He is Steph Curry. He's
2,974 career threes, breaks the record at MSG.
Yeah.
With Reggie Miller, with Ray Allen. The only thing that I was sad about is Klay Thompson was not there.
Yeah.
That made me sad. If he had been there, it would have been awesome. It just would have been one of the best moments ever. It still was a great moment, and I have it second on my list behind only one moment.
Go ahead and say it.
Now, let me paint a picture first.
Okay.
Enlighten us. The Brooklyn Nets come into the season as heavy title favorites.
Mm-hmm.
This city, they've had de Blasio. They've had Cuomo. It's been rough stuff. But now they have the Knicks, because the New York Knicks run New York City. The best moment of the year, without a doubt, is the Bing Bong video. The New York Knicks side talk Bing Bong video after they beat your Celtics in double overtime on the second night of the
NBA
Celtics.
I thought it was art. You know what, Matthew? Let's just hash this out on camera.
Let me talk about this first.
No, you're a Nets fan.
A little bit, yes. But the Bing Bong, the Knicks fan did, the line about we had Cuomo, we had de Blasio, it was rough, but now we got the Knicks. It's so oddly beautiful, and its delivery is just such a great line. Just so many. Tom Brady started catching strays for no reason on the sidelines. People saying F Tom Brady. At a Celtics-Knicks game on the second night of the season, the Knicks are back, double overtime. It is insane. I don't think it's hyperbole to say I've watched that video over 100 times. Every time
I don't doubt it.
I watch it, it makes me smile. It makes me laugh. It is the greatest video I've ever seen.
But really,
it's amazing.
Best moment of the season so far.
That moment.
Over Steph Curry.
That moment. Not only has it, do basketball fans love it, it's transcended basketball. It is a pop culture phenomenon now. Mike Breen was saying Bing Bong. It's everywhere. It's my favorite moment. It is the best moment.
And I guess if Mike Breen said it, it's exploded.
I think that is the one moment where NBA fans all felt unified. Even as a Celtics fan, you got to watch that video and you got to smile and you got to laugh. And we all like it when the Knicks are good. Of course, they're not right now. But to see that much love back at MSG, to see the fans going crazy like that for a team they haven't been able to go crazy for in so many years, and then the icing on the cake, Bing Bong. We had Cuomo, we had de Blasio, that line, 10 out of 10 every time. It's just phenomenal. It's a great video.
It's funny, I'll give you that, but I have to disagree on it being the best moment. But very creative, very, very original best moment. It's definitely not something I would have expected.
You can't. That video is amazing. I love it so much. Best moment for me by far.
All right, hey, that's fair. Hey.
So I think we'll call it there on that great best moment ending. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Debate Mates, and no promises, but we're gonna be traveling north.
Oh yes, sir.
Going up towards the NBA store these next couple of days, so maybe we'll get some short videos there as we.
The Debate Mates are taking on New York City.
So maybe we'll shoot some short videos there, if any of you guys care about that.
Maybe we'll even feature Hugh Jackman on the channel.
That you never know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. See you next time on the Debate Mates.
Bye, guys.